5 lessons from ancient Greek philosophers on how kindness can be a paradox. Have you ever considered how your kindness not always leads to the best outcome? This question might baffle you at first. Kindness is a virtue, isn't it? As we delve into the teachings of ancient Greek philosophers, we discover the inherent paradox in this seemingly noble. Let's take a voyage back to the cradle of Western philosophy, ancient Greece, where the school of thought known as Stoicism originated. These philosophers stressed the importance of virtue, wisdom, and acceptance of things beyond our control. Among them, the paradox of kindness was a fascinating subject. Stoic philosophers believed in kindness as a virtue, but they also acknowledged its potential pitfalls. It's akin to a double-edged sword, where one edge signifies the selfless deed, while the other hints at the unintentional harm that may follow. Take, for instance, a situation where you offer help to a friend, and they then grow too dependent on you. Your act of kindness has ironically cultivated a dependency. This encapsulates the paradox of kindness. Our well-meant actions can sometimes lead to unforeseen consequences. But this is not to say we should forego kindness. The idea is to recognize that kindness, like everything else, requires balance. It's about acknowledging that while our intentions might be pure, the results may not always be in our control. It's also about striving for wisdom in our acts of kindness, to navigate these paradoxes with grace. Great thinkers like Epictetus and Seneca dedicated their lives to studying these complexities. They delved into human nature, virtue, and the paradoxes that these encompass. Now we continue their exploration, translating their ideas to fit in our modern world. So come, let's embark on this journey together. Let's question our preconceived notions about kindness and challenge our understanding of this virtue. Join me as we dive into the wisdom of ancient Greek philosophers and untangle the paradox of kindness that they so profoundly discussed. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's begin by understanding how kindness can often be misinterpreted. In the realm of human interaction, our intentions, though noble, can sometimes be misconstrued. This is particularly true when it comes to acts of kindness. We might think we're doing something good, only to find out that our actions have been misread or have inadvertently caused harm. Enter the Stoic philosophers of ancient Greece, who placed great emphasis on clear communication and intention. They believed that it wasn't enough to merely be kind. One had to make sure their kindness was understood as intended. Let's consider an example. Suppose you're trying to help a friend overcome a challenge. You provide them with advice, thinking this is a kind act. However, your friend might interpret this as an intrusion, a sign that you don't trust their judgment. Without clear communication, your kind intentions can be misunderstood, leading to friction and potential harm. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius taught that kindness is not just about actions, but also about understanding the perspectives of others. They emphasized the importance of empathy in ensuring your kindness is received as intended. But what if your kindness is not merely misunderstood, but exploited? The Stoics had something to say about this too. They believed that kindness should not be a tool for manipulation or a means to an end. Kindness to them was an end in itself, a virtue to be practiced for its own sake. However, they also warned against becoming a doormat. Stoicism teaches us to be kind, yes, but also to stand up for ourselves, to assert our boundaries, and to ensure our kindness is not taken for granted. In the end, it's about striking a balance. It's about understanding the difference between being kind and being overly accommodating, between helping others and enabling them. Remember, it's not just about being kind. It's about ensuring that your kindness is understood. And as we journey further into the realms of Stoicism, we'll explore how to achieve this balance and how to cultivate a kind heart that is also wise and discerning. Now let's navigate the treacherous waters of kindness exploitation. Picture this: you're a lighthouse, your beam of kindness radiating outwards, guiding lost souls to safe shores. But what happens when your light attracts not just the lost, but the opportunistic pirates, those who would abuse your goodwill for their own gain? In this scenario, your kindness becomes a beacon for exploitation, a situation that no Stoic philosopher would advise. So let's delve into the darker side of kindness, where the benevolent-hearted may find themselves taken advantage of by the less scrupulous. The first thing to understand is that the Stoics never advised against kindness. In fact, they believed in the power of goodwill and compassion to bring about harmony in society. However, they were also realists, understanding that not everyone would use received kindness in a constructive or reciprocal manner. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This means that even when faced with exploitation, the Stoic response is not to mirror the exploiter's actions or to close off one's heart. Instead, the Stoic strives to maintain their integrity, their compassion, and their sense of justice, even in the face of adversity. But how does one do this? The Stoics propose a balanced approach. Kindness should not be blind, but rather, it should be discerning. It's about setting boundaries, knowing when to say no, and understanding that it's okay to protect yourself from those who would take undue advantage of your goodwill. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means that if you find yourself being taken advantage of, it's not a reflection of your kindness being weak or misplaced, but rather, it's a reflection of the exploiter's character. It's about how you react to the situation that defines your strength, not the situation itself. In conclusion, the Stoics advise that we should continue to be kind, but we must also be wise. We must understand that not all will respond to our kindness with gratitude or reciprocation. Some may even try to exploit it, but in such situations, we must not lose faith in our values or in the power of kindness itself. Instead, we should strengthen our resolve, set our boundaries, and continue to shine our light, not for the pirates, but for the lost souls who truly need it. Remember, it's not about abandoning kindness in the face of exploitation, but about refining it, making it stronger and more resilient. It's about understanding that true kindness goes hand in hand with wisdom, discernment, and strength. Beware, for kindness without boundaries is an open invitation for exploitation. Next, we'll explore how excessive kindness can become a burden. Ever been so kind that you feel like you're running on empty? If so, you're not alone. Many of us, in our quest to be kind, forget about one crucial element: ourselves. This is where the burden of kindness comes into play, a phenomenon where we extend our goodwill so far and wide that we end up feeling depleted. The Stoic philosophers had a word for this: egkrateia, or self-control. They believed that kindness, like all virtues, needed to be tempered with self-care. Without it, we risk burning ourselves out, becoming less useful to others and ourselves. The great Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "No one can give what he does not have." This is an essential reminder that our capacity to be kind is directly linked to our own well-being. Imagine a cup filled with water. This cup represents your capacity for kindness. Every time you're kind, you pour a bit of water out. If you keep pouring and pouring without replenishing, eventually your cup will run dry. This is the burden of kindness, the point at which your well-intentioned actions start to take a toll on your own well-being. But how do we avoid this? How do we balance our desire to be kind with the need to look after ourselves? The Stoics believed that the answer lies in setting personal boundaries. It's about understanding that you can't be everything to everyone. It's about learning to say no when you need to. It's about recognizing that your own well-being is just as important as anyone else's. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." His words remind us that our time and energy are finite. We should use them wisely, in a way that is good for both others and ourselves. Being kind doesn't mean you have to sacrifice yourself. It doesn't mean you have to give until you have nothing left. True kindness is about balance. It's about giving to others while also giving to yourself. It's about recognizing your own needs and limits. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that to give effectively, you must first look after yourself. They knew that self-care isn't selfish, but rather a necessary part of being kind. So as you navigate your own journey of kindness, remember the wisdom of the Stoics. Remember to balance your kindness with self-care. Remember to set boundaries and respect your own limits. Remember that to give, you must first replenish. Remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Let's now turn our attention to the detachment that can stem from excessive kindness. There's a peculiar paradox that arises when kindness, an emotion typically associated with connection, starts to breed detachment instead. This detachment isn't a conscious decision to distance oneself, but rather a byproduct of overextending one's kindness to the point of exhaustion. So where does this detachment originate? It arises when we spread our kindness too thin, when we pour from an empty cup, when we give without boundaries, and when we neglect our own needs in the process. This is not to say that kindness is inherently damaging, but rather that an imbalance of it can lead to a sense of emotional detachment. Now let's bring in the Stoic philosophy here. Stoicism, an ancient Greek philosophy, places a great emphasis on authenticity. The Stoics believed that our actions, our words, our kindness should all stem from a place of sincerity and genuine care. They argued that when we act out of duty or obligation, rather than sincere compassion, our actions lose their authenticity and thus their meaning. What this means in the context of kindness is that when we are excessively kind out of a sense of duty or obligation, we risk detaching ourselves from the genuine emotional connection that should accompany our actions. We become mechanical in our kindness, distributing it without thought or consideration, and in doing so, we lose touch with the very essence of what it means to be kind. The Stoics would argue that this detachment is a sign of inauthenticity, a sign that our kindness has become a chore rather than a genuine expression of care. And when kindness becomes a chore, it's no longer a connection, but a transaction. We give, not because we want to, but because we feel we have to. This detachment, this inauthenticity, is a hollow shell of what kindness should be. It lacks the warmth, the connection, the genuineness that defines true kindness, and it's this detachment that the Stoics warn us against. As we navigate our lives, let's strive to ensure that our kindness comes from a place of authenticity, because it's authenticity, not excessive kindness, that breeds true connection. Authenticity, not excessive kindness, breeds true connection. Lastly, let's discuss how we can rebalance our kindness. Just as a tightrope walker maintains equilibrium by careful, calculated movements, so too must we strive to balance our kindness. Stoic philosophy offers us a compass in this endeavor, guiding us towards a harmonious blend of compassion and self-preservation. The first step in this balancing act is self-awareness. Become cognizant of your own needs and emotions. Understand that your well-being is as important as those you are kind to. It's not selfish to prioritize your own mental health. As the great Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, a person who doesn't look after their own needs is like a vine that's neglected and never pruned. Next, it's essential to practice discernment. Not all situations warrant the same degree of kindness. Sometimes, a stern word may be more beneficial than a gentle one. Remember, kindness is not indulgence. It's about helping others grow, even if it means challenging them. Then, we must learn to set boundaries. This is not a sign of unkindness, but a necessary measure to prevent exploitation and maintain our sanity. As Epictetus, another famous Stoic philosopher, put it, we should always be asking ourselves, is this something that is or is not in my control? A crucial part of this rebalancing process is accepting that we can't please everyone. Some people may misconstrue our kindness, some may take advantage of it, and others may not appreciate it. But it's important to remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, the opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know the subject. Finally, never let your kindness become a burden. Instead, let it be a source of joy and fulfillment. It's a gift that we give, not an obligation that we bear. In the end, the goal is not to eliminate kindness, but to practice it wisely, with respect for ourselves and others. It's about finding that sweet spot where compassion meets wisdom, where kindness becomes not a liability, but a strength. In the pursuit of kindness, do not lose yourself. As we conclude, let's revisit the Stoic way of kindness. Stoicism, an ancient Greek philosophy, teaches us the importance of balance. It encourages us to be kind, but cautions us against excessive altruism that may lead to self-neglect. It's a philosophy that emphasizes authenticity in our actions, reminding us that true kindness stems from genuine care and not from a desire for recognition or reward. The Stoic philosophers, with their profound wisdom, guide us in navigating the complexities of human interactions. They inspire us to practice kindness with wisdom and discernment, to be mindful of our capacities, and to understand that it's all right to say no when necessary. It's about being kind to ourselves as well as to others, and understanding that our well-being is as important as that of those around us. So remember, as you go about your daily interactions, strive for balance, authenticity, and self-care in your acts of kindness. May your kindness be wise, balanced, and truly beneficial.